Hi there, this is Peter Smith with D.R. McNatty and Associates, and I'll be presenting this month's tech tip on updating P6 schedules with the maintain baseline feature. So I want to go over a couple methods for doing updates in P6. One of the traditional methods is to make a copy of the project each time you update it. And on my screen here, you see what this is a screenshot of is the EPS in P6 with the original project highlighted and then 5 updates made for each update. This works fine for some people, especially working in standalone environments, but it can create some issues in different environments. So let's say you're in an enterprise environment, a hosted environment where you've got many people creating copies of their project each time you do an update. It's going to create way too many projects for your EPS, and you're going to spend a lot of time digging through the different copies to find the right project, and you run the risk of opening the wrong project. So what I'm going to present today is the new method of doing this, which some of you may know. And instead of making a copy of the project, you're going to store that update as a baseline in the maintain baseline feature. And if you need to reference that information for historical use, you can restore that baseline and view it from there. So I'm going to walk you through a couple steps of how to do it in P6 Client, and then I'm going to show you where to do it in the web, and then I'm going to show you a really effective way to implement this in your organization. So get into this. What is a baseline? A baseline is defined in P6 as a snapshot of a project at a particular point. And how many baselines can you create in P6? Well, you can create an unlimited number of baselines. And you can even categorize the baselines to help keep them organized. So step 1 of this is to get into P6. I've got a professional screenshot shown here. Open up a project and get to the activities view. Next step, go to the projects menu and click maintain baselines. As soon as you click this, the maintain baseline dialog box will appear, and this is where you're going to create a new baseline. So in this dialog box, you click add, which is shown there, and then it brings up this dialog box and you say save a copy of the current project as a new baseline and click OK. And I would recommend editing the text of the baseline you just created to make sure you're organized. And I would also recommend putting it as a baseline category to keep more organized. And those are the steps for creating a baseline. You're done. It's complete. You've created that. Now let's look as if you wanted to restore this baseline for historical use. So you might be somewhat through the project and you've been working with the client and he says, you know what, I want to go over this update you turned into me a couple months ago. So you go into your updates that you have categorized here in your maintain baselines. You click on the one you want to restore, and you click Restore. The little dialog box comes up, says, are you sure you want to unlink the selected baseline from the current project and make them separate projects? You click Yes, and then this baseline is going to be restored and appear in your EPS as a restored project. It's not going to appear in your baseline dialog box anymore. It's going to show up in the EPS just like a screenshot here. And this way you can open it. You can go through that historical information. You can even open this and the other project at the same time and run filters if you wish. And once you're kind of done it with that information and you want to convert this project out of your EPS back to a baseline, you go through these steps. You go back to your original project. You open the maintain baseline dialog box and you click Add. And instead of doing the save a copy of the current baseline as a new project, you click on the convert another project to a new baseline of the current. So once you do that and click OK, you get one more box which allows you to select the project from your EPS, just like I have shown here. You select it, press select, and it's added into your baseline. So some of the benefit of this new way is going to be an increase in efficiency of your organization, because people won't be scrolling through all these copies of projects and updates like they did before. It'll be a nice clean EPS, which will really improve your organization and reduce the risk of opening a wrong project. Now I'm going to show you how to do this within P6 Web. So here I am right now. I've got P6 Web open right now. This is the Release 8 web client. I am in a specific project and I'm in the Activities view here. And it's very similar to how it works in the desktop client. I'm going to go to Actions right here, which gives me a drop-down list. and then I'm going to go down to Define Baselines right here. I click on Define Baselines, and it brings up a Maintain Baseline dialog box, very similar to how it did on the desktop client. It's got my different baselines listed here, and then it's got columns for the different categories and types. So if I wanted to add a baseline, take a snapshot, I press the plus button here, and it just creates one there. Baseline types, date, etc. And I can delete baselines, and I can also convert a baseline from a current project, where it brings up my EPS right here, and I can select the project I want to convert as a baseline. So it's very similar to the process I just showed you. It's just slightly different where to navigate to. So now that I've showed you this method of how to organize your projects, the question you're probably saying is, okay, I know how to do this, but how do I get people in my organization to do this? How do I implement this so people within my organization will start doing this and everyone will follow the rules? Well, one really effective way to do it is to create a user productivity kit video on how to do it. And P6, the ePPM, the web client here, comes with UPK integration, meaning your help menu in P6 Web is enabled and has all these UPK or user productivity videos loaded in there. So essentially what you could do is take a process like what I just demonstrated here, record your steps through this process, and save it. And what UPK will do is it will create a video of what you just did, which is stored in the P6 help menu. It'll create a simulated environment for them to try it and test it in, and it will create a guided environment for them to do it in the actual production work. And the last thing it will create is a user guide for them to work through. So I've got a couple of screenshots here. So it's see it, try it, do it. So when they click on see it, they're going to be seeing a video of the process you did, and you'll be seeing your mouse move around to the selected areas. And then when they get comfortable with that and they want to try it, they'll be going through a guided environment which shows them the boxes to click and trying to do it themselves. And then when they go through the do it stage of it, they'll actually be doing the work in a live environment where they can be doing work at the same time and learning. And all this will create a step-by-step guide for your users that you can distribute. So UPK is a really effective way to taking methods like maintaining baselines and implementing it through your whole organization for everyone to access and follow. If you've got any questions on maintaining baselines or UPK or P6, newer releases, the web client, feel free to contact me. My name is Peter Smith, once again, and my email is psmith@drmcnady.com. And thank you for joining me on this tech tip.